You don't really have to say her name.
It's fun though. It's fun doing the clap, saying your name. Ooh, you hear that reverb?
Nice verb. Thick verb.
Holy, put some pictures up in this house. I'm in a cave right now because I'm looking after my dad's dog. He's gone for the week, and it's very cavernous in here. Hear that? Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Might as well be in a
It's
chapel.
nice.
How are you, buddy?
Nice
Congrats
verb.
on 200
I'm good.
episodes.
Wow. That is crazy. Congrats.
Yay.
Thank you.
Well, it's really
great
like
job to you.
160 for you.
Yeah. So I'm not celebrating.
Another 40 from now, we'll do an individual 200 for you.
Yeah. It's like the Koreans, when they're born, they're already one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they just changed that recently, but you're born at one. You're one. So now everyone's like a year older than they really are. Well, I guess it's all relative, but we're born at 0 and we're 0 for a long time. And then we're one. You could argue either way, but you started first and I was born later, I guess is my point.
That's interesting. Well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I did that little 200 post on Instagram and it was awesome to see all the good feedback. So some good motivation. You said I was in a good mood today. That probably had something to do with it. And I'm also in a good mood because you and I haven't been able to do an episode, just you and I together. Missing my, jealous. Guests have been stealing your time from me.
Yeah, it's rude.
It's pretty rude of them.
This is a you and me relationship.
Right?
Sometimes we try to let other people in. It's just not good. Never works out. Doesn't work out.
Never works out. And how excited are you about Alaska?
I am. The more I look into it and the more things get settled, I absolutely am. I couldn't be more excited.
And of course,
I know it doesn't sound that way.
Referring to the 2024 TPM Alaska retreat, July 9th to 14th. I'm worried to say like, hey, go check it out in the event that this comes out on Monday and it's all sold out. As of right now, it's not. There's people that are seeing if they can get the time off work, checking with spouses, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want to say there's spots available, but as of recording right now on Tuesday, January 23rd, there are. So don't shoot me if you go there and find that all the spots are gone, but we'll put a link to that in the episode description anyway. Sounds good.
Yeah, check it out. It's going to be a blast. Is it a little more expensive than our last retreats? Yes, but we're doing some crazy stuff and we're in Alaska. So I can't wait to go. I can't wait to go with the group and make another memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Psyched. Absolutely. So we got some things to talk about today. Where do you want to begin? Yeah. We do our little brief before we press record. But
where should we begin? You brought up a lot of good things.
As always.
And I'm excited to get into them. So why don't you just rip? Why don't you just go?
What was your favorite place to start off? You want to start off with some passion?
Yeah, I do. Let's get into it. Let's get rough.
Rough
with the
doesn't
audience.
Need to be rough. I don't know. I've just been I'm not one to complain. People who listen to this show know that. And this isn't really a complaint. And maybe this doesn't pertain to the people listening. Maybe the people listening have kind of gotten this concept into their head. Or maybe, it's a friendly reminder. Or maybe this is your first episode listening ever. But I am so tired. And this is really a problem with me because it's my fault that it bothers me. And it's my fault that I'm on social media. So I'll preface what I'm about to say with that. Right? Fair enough?
Yes.
But I'm tired of seeing this trend of reel that says something along the lines of, there's lots of different variations of it, but something along the lines of posting every day until I can quit my job. Posting every day until I can quit my job. And first of all, I love the hell out of that commitment. Posting every day is a huge commitment. And most people can't do that or exercise that level of discipline. So first of all, that's incredible. The part that I have the problem with, and we've talked about this, 10, 20, 30 episodes by now, is giving the impression to people that the climb in Instagram is what's required to leave your job. Should that be what you want to do? Not true. And I think B, it also harmfully puts the focus on I gotta grow my page, I gotta grow my page, I gotta grow my page. When other moves are way more important. Phoning somebody at a real estate company is way more important if you want to do drone work for a real estate agent. Phoning a company for a paddleboard that you love using is way more important. Building a website that impresses is way more important. And I'm sure all those people are doing that. Or maybe they're not. Maybe that's the problem. I think that's what I'm getting at. And I'm passionate. I'm tired of seeing it. And I'm sure the growth in an Instagram account, that rocket ship works for 0.0001% of people, and it makes them a full-time creator. I'm not saying don't create. I'm not saying you don't need to, that posting every day isn't important. I'm not even telling you what to do. You can do whatever you want. It's just frustrating. And this is, I guess, a reminder in case you needed it today, that it just really doesn't matter. It's a piece of the puzzle. It's a small piece of the puzzle that, yes, can serve you well, yes, deserves attention, but by no means is the defining factor of whether you can leave your job should you want to.
Yeah, well said. I cannot argue with any of that or even play devil's advocate because I fully agree. I just, like you said, I just think there's a million things you could be doing instead of that to create that succession in that goal. That alone doesn't do anything. And on top of that, it's pretty uncreative. It's like you're going to copy the same template that everyone's doing and you're going to post a photo, which is fine, but it's gimmicky and it doesn't show any sort of creativity beyond just this sort of cookie cutter thing. We saw the other one too is like, I'm going to post every day until I'm at 5,000 followers. Then I'm going to post every day until I'm at 6,000 followers. And they just keep posting the same footage just to get those trickle in followers. But is that fun? What's the fun part of that? The growth?
Well, this is where we get into our discussion about dopamine. And by no means am I a molecular biologist or a neurologist. I was just telling you, I read an awesome book that I recommend to everyone listening. They should go and check it out. The Molecule of More, which of course is referring to dopamine. It's an awesome book. And it really opened my eyes to what that, chemical compound's purpose is in our ancestors and how we've kind of hijacked it today. It's the molecule of more, literally. It is the driving molecule of motivation to get you to do things, to get you to try and achieve. It's getting you to do things that increases your chances of reproducing and surviving at a primitive level. And it doesn't have an off button, as you come to learn in that book, meaning that it's always more food. It's always more Instagram followers. It's always more porn. It's always more, do you name it? And you can never, ever be satisfied if you're totally focused on dopaminergic rewards. It's impossible. And that was so eye-opening to me. And I'm going to butcher this, but there was something in that book along the lines of that happiness is in between your dopaminergic urges and your here and now molecules, which would be like serotonin. That space between when you can be really happy for what you've achieved and what you have before dopamine kicks up again and wants you to, go grind and do all those great things that we need. That little window is satisfaction and happiness, which was like, it's changed the whole way I look at things now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a stickler with the word happy and the word like joy or content or satisfaction. I always have been. Or I shouldn't say always, but for the last 10 years, it's like a psychology thing. And to me, happy is cake with frosting. A super like rush of sugar and foods and fats and dopamine, all the things. Like, what a great thing! But there is this crash after. You can't stay at happy. You can't stay at that high for so long. It just doesn't work. People are that manically like happy. Just come across as, you know, crazy, insane, for lack of a, you know, clinical term. But there is that crash. Content, to me, satisfaction is like chicken and broccoli, like a meal, a piece of salmon and a sweet potato. Like, that is good, but it's not crazy over the moon good, but it satiates you for a long period of time. You're very content. You're content for a long time. It's not this, oh, I feel sick after this, or I feel gross after this, I need more. It just kind of, it holds you on. It's more of a gentle curve, which I always strive for. You know, if people say like, "Are you happy in your job?" I'm like, I don't like the word happy, because who's going into work like, I'm at work today, yeah, like every day? That's a tough feat. I think if you're satisfied, or like, I like what I'm doing, I'm helping the world, like it feels good, like, yeah, then that's going to be a longer stay, I feel like. So
Right.
between those words, maybe it's semantics, but to me it makes a difference in terms of like happy versus content.
Right. Well, and that question, are you happy at your job? I mean, sometimes, right? If you're really loving what you're doing and you're excited to achieve, and you can sit back for 5 minutes or a day
Yeah.
and revel in what you've created. I mean, I'm really of the mind that creation is the ultimate form of expression. When we make things, when we make a loving family, when we make a piece of artwork, when we fix the dishwasher like you did the other day, there's this
Ooh.
process
Oh,
where you were motivated to do something, to use your brain, to figure things out, to express yourself in your own unique way. And then when you're able to accomplish what you set out to, no matter how large or small, there's this little tiny window that we need to cherish so much. We need to, because like that's where you can find the space exists for you to be satisfied. And then you can have that dopaminergic urge to, let's do better. What's next? What's next? So I'm not saying, I'm hoping that in the example we provided, at least if people are trying that cookie cutter trend, to use your words, let's say, I wonder, first of all, if following the template is satisfying, right? Because I think you alluded to the idea that it's not really unique creation. And then I wonder that, I also hope that when they do hit that 17,000, 18,000, posting till I hit 19,000, that there is a space where there's a little bit of satisfaction, right? As opposed to more, 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 more. Because more, 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 more gets us into trouble, I think. And I think more, 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 it chemically prevents us from being able to enjoy life. Whether you're a
yeah.
billionaire, dirt poor, I think that's just that's at least my interpretation of what I read and all the studies that were in that book. And it
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense. And I'll put a link to it in the episode description as well. Really good
And
book. Highly
I'm
recommend
re-
it.
I'm reading the Comfort Crisis right now, and
Good
it
book as
gets into a
well.
lot of stuff, along the lines of that as well. Just this need for, again, the next thing, and how smart these apps are. Something that's crazy is like when you open up Instagram, there's a delay before they show you your likes, follows, notifications, all that. If you notice that next time, open up your app, the heart will be up top, and then it'll flash. You have
Mhm.
20 likes. That anticipation is addicting. It's like all behavioral science to
You
get
know
you coming
why?
back. Well,
The technical term for it is the reward prediction error. We get
mhm.
super intrigued and curious and, all jacked up when we're unsure what the what the reward is going to be when it's not expected.
Yeah, so we're waiting, unknown. It doesn't just hit us right away. There's anticipation, there's nerves, maybe even a little. And
Yeah.
then you get that random, maybe it's different too. Sometimes it feels like it takes longer, sometimes it's right away. It's interesting.
Do you know what percentage of a casino floor is devoted to slots? Do you know what the magic
Most?
number is?
I feel like it's most. I don't know.
80%.
Yeah.
80% of the casino floor on average devoted to slot machines as opposed to table games.
Is that random reward?
Yep.
Very controlled.
Reward prediction error.
Mm-hmm.
It's what gets you. It's what gets you. And I think it's really important we know these things. It's important we know how our evolutionary biology and our human systems, how easily they can be hijacked. I think we're so naive if we think we can beat these things. You can't. You cannot. There's things like your smartphone and slot machines. They're designed by behavioral scientists, right?
Like
and I think
in the field.
It's really important to just be informed and know what's going on. I think knowing your own mind and how the human brain works in that sense is important.
Yeah. So back to the reel. Like I got to give credit to the person that said, you know what, I want to share my photography. I'm going to make this template. I'm going to do it the first time. That's pretty creative. And then they saw it through. That's great. But I think there is a part where you're just like, oh, that worked for him. I'm going to do the same exact thing my way. And you're just kind of copying that without any real thought into how can I change this or make it different, even if it's slightly. It's like you're just jumping onto a hopeful wave that had nothing to do with your creation. Does it feel, I'm asking, does it feel cheaper? Say you get 30,000 followers. Does it feel like they're following you because of your work or because of this gimmick? Does that satisfy that need? Do you feel like you have to move on from there? Is it ever enough? So I don't know. It's kind of the same as like cover songs, like if you're going to do a cover song, I love cover songs. It's great. But please add a little twist to it. Add something different. If it's a guitar song, maybe do it on piano. Maybe a male has a lead part on a female song. Like whatever it may be, give it a little twist. If you copy it exactly how the original was, okay, cool. You copy that really well. It's like, do you want to get famous off of that? I always wonder, like, have you heard of like Australian Pink Floyd, Brit Floyd? So they're bands that cover Pink Floyd very well. I just always wonder, when does that get old? Where it's like, oh, we have all the songs what we wrote, and we're famous off of this other band stuff that we're just copying. Does that satisfy? I don't know. I'm not in that position, but it's interesting when you're just kind of regurgitating past creations and being like, let me get mine from this. Let me keep reproducing the Mona Lisa and see if I become a famous artist.
Well, then you get into the question, maybe a bit philosophical. I'm sure maybe consciously or subconsciously, there are individuals where happiness doesn't really matter, where achievement is all that matters.
Yeah. Right. And I think that goes back to last time we were on. We talked about really enjoying the process with Tony. And we've talked about that before. And I made the mistake of grabbing an ice cube from my drink. So now it's in my mouth, freezing my teeth off while I'm trying not to shatter it or bite it in the microphone.
Please do. Give us a good crunch. Give us some ASMR.
There you go. That's my cold plunge for the day. Keep a piece of ice directly on my wisdom teeth.
You're so healthy right now. Wow. You're at pinnacle health because of that cold plunge.
Anywho, enjoying the process. Like people that are trying to create a reel to go viral, you're focused on the result, right? You're not you're not out there saying like, oh, I like this creative idea, I'm going to do it. What happens, you know? Uh, you said to me the other day, like, hey, you're on fire with your reels. None of that was on purpose or planned. It was like, oh, I have a funny idea, I want to share it.
Well, I want to
You,
talk to you about this because you've had the direction that you've gone in the direction I wanted to go in. So
good.
and I'm all stuttery because I'm excited today. I swear I only had 2 coffees, but you're a case study right now because you made something that I assume is unique. I haven't seen really anybody else doing that kind of stuff. You're kind of poking fun at wildlife photographers. You're not taking it too seriously. I think it's original. I've had people messaging me saying, "Oh, like Aaron's stuff's like so funny," and I haven't seen anybody else doing it. I'm waiting for other people to start doing this, and then you can be, the forefather of that. But
yeah,
let's get inside your brain for a minute because you've had a slow drip of followers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's you've been making some unique ideas, the comedy side of wildlife photography.
Yeah.
If you can run a self-diagnostic, what's
the secret sauce?
No, just what's going on in that head of yours? How is it received? Is it satisfying? Are you enjoying it? What's the fun part? That people liked what you made, that your hard work is being rewarded? How is it being rewarded? With people saying, good job in DMs? Is it being rewarded with the 2,000 followers you gained? I just kind of want to know. I'm interested to hear what's going on in your head.
Yeah. Well, of course, there's a validation when something goes a little bit kooky like it did.
Of course. We all know that part. Yeah.
I got into let's back up. It turned into the reel game, right? Like you need reels to have followers, and that really worked for a while. And then that even switched and it became saturated. You go on to reels and you see it's actually kind of amazing. Such professional film work, cinematography, photography, storytellers, people with personality, humor, like amazing talent that's being shared across the world. Like it is really impressive. With that, it can be a little bit daunting as well. And started getting into trying to video like the animals that I'm seeing and taking photographs of. And it didn't do well for me. For some people it did. And people were doing like a lot of the crazy wolves or lions or tigers, and I'm like,
I feel targeted.
You are. Here's a bald eagle I saw, once a year, and like trying to make it go as hard as it can. And it's like, all right, like everyone, we're seeing all these amazing animals and all this, 120 frames per second, and it's just out there, and it was great. So that's kind of a backstory to where this started. Then I started to realize that a lot of my photos come from really, the window of my car, or a happenstance, or you look on eBird and you see there's a nest somewhere, and or a bird sighting, and you go and check it out, but at least it's in the area. Like a lot of it wasn't this sort of stalking and sitting for hours and camouflage face paint and going crazy to show this photo, which I started to see a ton of that. And in my mind, I was like, that's great for all of them. It's cool, but it's becoming very popular. Now everyone is showing a slow motion version of themselves wherever they are, and then the photo they took. So I just said, I'm going to go like satire over the top. I'm going to be sprinting like it's the army, like down this path, holding my camera with my dog husky chasing me, which would never happen in wildlife, but it's just like adding like a wolf behind you, essentially, as you're running through, make it in super slow-mo, and then show the most innocent baby bird, like a little fluffy yellowfinch. And from that, I found humor in that. From that, I was also like, I'm motivated to go film. Like, honestly, it's a lot. We're all very busy. To say you want to go film a clip in a nice location, takes a mile hike, setting up cameras, pressing record, running down, coming back, checking the frame, doing it a couple times. I had a dog involved. Like, I don't know how many takes I took. It's a lot of work. And I think, Seth, you probably too appreciate when you see something on a reel or like this put together, really well put together video, 30-second video with 20 cuts, and you're like, man, like I know how much work that is, and that's crazy. So it does take a lot of work to do a really good job in video, plain and simple. So anyways, I put this up. It's something that came from my own brain. Someone might have made fun of it before or joked with it. I don't know. I didn't see it, or I don't remember seeing it. But something that came up, and I had this idea, put it out there, and it went. I did it like I think you noticed. You like did this at night too, and it went bonkers. Like I did it as soon as I was done editing it. Just throw it up there, and it went bonkers, and not crazy bonkers. Not like Ian Jones. He went bonkers with his reel, but like 800,000 views. That's way more than I've ever gotten. So with that first reel, oh, this is working. But I already had 6 ideas written down in terms of this creative theme, this creative path of like, oh, going hard. Oh, you can make fun of like how athletic you have to be for wildlife. Oh, you can make fun of the fact that you're doing this awesome slow motion to show a photo that you took 3 months ago, like at the supermarket. It was back in the woods, like as you were driving away. Like just all these little ideas along the lines of like, let's calm down, everyone. We don't have to take ourselves too seriously. Let's have some fun. And some did better than others, but it's just been fun. It's just opened up a new, I think, creative leaflet in my repertoire of just things that I could do, things that I can accomplish, things that I can create. So that's kind of how it was born. Where's the enjoyment or fun from it? Sure, when you're creative and something gets accepted and people get it. Humor's tough. I think for me, I'm a little insecure about like throwing humor out there because it's like there's nothing worse than a joke that doesn't land. Like it's just like you throw a jokey reel out there and no one gets it. It's which I've gotten some hilarious comments, by the way, we can get into, but you kind of put yourself out there. It can be very cringy. It can be very like, oh, that did not go well. Like that is not funny. Like it just does not go well. And that's the risk. So people accepting it and liking it and joking about it and saying they want to see more, of course that helps and that feels good. But it's a whole creative idea or concept that I'm just going to go until I run out of them, and I haven't done it every day. I do it when there's time or I feel like, oh, I'm going to put some time aside and do a next one. Or I want to record this thing, or this is a good idea. Like it just kind of, I let it flow, post it, let it go and see what happens. If I like it, I like it. I told you yesterday, I think part of the key is now the bar keeps rising for what reel is going to go really well. And in our field, especially I'm talking about in the world, like being funny or crashing or falling off a building, like that kind of stuff, or making a cool basketball shot, like that's a different ball game. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in like photography and videography. If we're taking it seriously and you want a reel to do well, I think there's a few aspects. First, when it came out, it just was like, make a reel and you'll do well. And I think that was pretty true. And especially if it was anything decent, it did really well. I think Funk Drone's an example of that. He just stayed with like, I'm going to show beautiful, beautiful scenery. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, maybe. And it went bonkers in the very beginning. And he's still doing very well. It's beautiful stuff. I think it has grown to that's not enough anymore. There's a lot of beautiful stuff. It becomes saturated. I don't know if that's an audience thing, an algorithm thing. Like we see it all the time, and we have to be really blown away by a one clip video. It better be something crazy that keeps our attention. Otherwise, we're going to flip through. I think it turned into like, oh, we need personality with these reels. And that's where I'm going to show myself in slow motion and then show the animal that I took a video. That started to do really well because it's like, oh, that's the person. Oh, he looks badass or she looks badass. And that's the shot. Really cool. Let me look at their stuff. I think that really worked for a while. And then I think it even stepped up another notch where it's like, you have something new, creative. It's got to be shot well, and there's got to be good imagery. Otherwise, it's going to get sent in a pile with millions of videos that are just like it. So that's what I've kind of figured out from this. And it was by accident, but just sort of like, oh, this was a creative idea. People thought it was funny. There is actually good cinematography in it, in my opinion. I'm patting my own back, but it's a professional camera. It's tracking me. It's 120 frames per second. And then hopefully a decent photo at the end that shows a photo that I took. And one of the first things I said to you, Seth, when I was doing this, before it even went viral, I was like, I have a good idea for this. And I think it's a way for me to show my photography to more people, because I'm doing these jokes, but I always end with, this is the photo I took, or this is a photo I took. And I put that as my cover. And now I can still show my photography in a way that's like different than putting it out there and getting 100 likes on it. So
you're so smart.
That's my story about the reels. Are you done with reels? When are we going to stop talking about reels?
Nice and short, not long-winded.
Well, listen, I just ate up some time. You're welcome.
It's that ice cube cold plunge that got you all jacked up.
Well, you asked a really intricate question with a lot of details.
Well,
so
what else? What am I supposed to do? I can't help it.
That's what happened. That's what happens.
I can't help it. Sometimes I can feel my brain short-circuiting, saying, "You better ask something smart, not dumb."
Yeah, and if you do, you get a break because I'm good for a good 10 minutes to 11-minute answer.
There's some episodes I listen back to. I'm like, did I ask that?
Well, sometimes you key yourself off to like, oh, that's another good point. Oh, that's a decent point. Share that. Nah. All right. I digress. I'll shut up the rest. I'm going to eat ice cubes now.
Well, yeah, let's move on.
Let's unpack.
I had speaking on, engagement. And I bring this up just because it was fun to have conversations with people about this. I could really care less about the numbers on the story, but preface it with the number that there was a lot of views on this story. Anyways, I posted that I was culling photos in my Lightroom, right? Because it had just gotten way out of hand. I had, I think, 24,000 photos. I culled 10,000 down to 14,000, took a picture, and then I put the little question feature in the story asking like how many people or what amount of photos people have in their Lightroom catalog, essentially. And I got answers all over the place. I got everything from, 2,500 to 250,000 in the catalog. Some people were telling me that they make a new catalog for every new shoot. Some people make a new catalog in Lightroom for every new year. And I was just like, oh, I didn't even really realize you can do that. Some people maybe listening were saying, really? You didn't think you could make a new catalog? I've just always operated from one catalog. And my goal is to clean out the trash. Don't be a photo hoarder. Keep the ones that could be useful in the future, ones I really love or ones that make me smile. Go through them, keyword them all, and save myself a ton of time for when a publication or somebody asks for a specific set of photos or a drive of photos. For example, Tamron right now, they want some bird photos for the spring magazine. So the goal is by the end to be able to just go into Lightroom, type in Tamron birds, and I'll have like 400 photos I can pick from. Right. Yeah. I'm sure there's lots of people listening who do keyword, but I just had never, I had put it off. I'm just too excited when I'm importing photos to keyword them as they're coming in or as they've come in. And I've dug myself a real hole that I'm going to start climbing out of, and I'm going to start making that a habit of keywording as soon as I've imported or upon import, because I've found, like, we all know it. You spent what year was that? Oh yeah, that was that photo I took between my summer vacation to Spain, and it takes forever to find a photo. And if I feel like if you aggregate all those numbers, you've probably wasted like a day of your life trying to find photos, and I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Yeah. No, that's
So
yeah, it's going to save you time in the future for sure. It's not a fun task, I don't think, but you put some music on, you just
yeah,
kind of get after it.
you feel productive. There were
What's your
so
method? What's your method of getting rid of stuff? Do you go to each, like a certain date and you look at the bottom and X things out? How do you?
I'll go through each. What I'm doing right now is I'll go through each sequence, and if I like it, I'll make it green. If I don't like it, I won't do anything. And then after each sequence of photos, I'll delete all the ones that I didn't mark green, and then I'll move on to the next sequence. And I think I have from the last 6 months left to do. And then
So do you, after they're sorry,
sorry,
after they're not green, like the ones you don't like, do you have
it's
to click
trash,
them?
trash.
And it's from Lightroom though, so you have to click it, delete, click, delete, click, delete.
No, you can group delete. If you're in the library mode, not in the develop module, if you're in the library module and you're in the grid mode, you can highlight them all and you can click delete at once, and you can clear like 2,000 photos at once.
From your drive also?
From the drive,
From
gone.
everything, okay.
I like minimalism.
Yeah.
Years ago, we did that digital minimalism episode. I like a clean house
Mhm.
digitally. I'm very organized digitally, other than my keywording and for letting some of these things go. What I tend to do is, like, I work very fast. So when I have a creative spark and when I have something I'm working on or that's really urgent or that needs to go out, I'm not taking the time to go through and ponder, do I want to keep this one? I'll go through like once a month in my drives and I'll organize stuff, or I'll clean my desktop, or I'll do what
Mhm.
I'm doing right now. And it just, it makes more sense to me as opposed to doing it in real time. Maybe that's not the most effective way, but it works for me. So after everything's green, I'll have my whole entire catalog will be green, right? And then
Mhm.
I'll go through and I'll keyword all those, and everything that's green will have been what I wanted to keep, and everything else is gone. I'm not doing marking things blue for I sort of like it, or yellow for
Yeah.
it's okay. It's just like I'm really okay with not being attached to some photos. It's like stuff in your house. When was the last time you used it? Yeah, you may use it in a pinch, but like you've never used it. Come on. You can
Right.
let it go. You can
Yeah,
let
that's
it
that's
go.
the clothing rule, right? Have I worn this year? No? Okay. Bye.
Yeah, the
Bye-bye.
other one is for every new piece that comes in, you got to donate one,
Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a good one.
right? So,
Yeah, that's good. That's a good method. I like it. I, I do it similar. I'm trying to be very good about doing it as things come in. Especially, I think that was the switch I made mentally when I got the new Sony that shoots
mhm.
in 61 megapixels and every file is 92 megabytes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
Can you tone it down? Like, that's overkill.
I don't.
Is there a feature to turn it down? There's no way, huh?
Yeah, no, you can. You can.
Can
You
you?
can. Yeah, you can
Because, like,
compress the
why do you
raw.
really need 60 megabytes unless you're so far away from wildlife, or you're printing something huge? Is it
Both.
overkill?
No, I don't think so. I
Hmm.
don't. I think it's
Maybe I'm just
perfect.
jealous.
I think it's the sweet spot.
The
Wildlife
sweet
is
spot.
what?
That means there has to
Well,
be something remarkably higher.
no, it's. I mean,
You're
it
saying the
saves a
sweet
lot.
spot is at the pinnacle of
A
megapixel.
hundred megapixels is going to be right around the corner, for sure.
Well,
For
they're gonna
sure.
have to, do some compressed file management or
Yeah,
something, because that's
yeah, and they have that. They have that in the Sony. I'm not shooting their
you're shooting
full.
uncompressed though, right?
Nope, one down. Like their highest setting compressed,
Hmm.
just to save a little bit of space because it gets ridiculous.
Right.
So with that though, it encouraged me to do this similar thing to you.
Mhm.
I have my finger on the X and the 4. So as I go through develop mode, if I press an X, it rejects it, and if I press a 4, it puts 4 stars next to it.
Right.
Um, and once I have all my X's, the ones I rejected, if you press Command Delete, it erases all of them.
Oh,
so it's a similar
workflow.
Similar method.
Well, if you're listening on Spotify, I'll put some polls and some questions related to Lightroom cataloging and cleaning house. I'm curious to see what you kind of folks do, and maybe your method offers some.
It's important as video gets more and more popular too. I mean, like we're recording right now, and it's going to be gigabytes.
Yeah, because I'm in 2.7K.
And I'm in
which is overkill.
4K.
I only really need 1080,
but yeah, it's, I mean, that data storage and getting rid of things when they're done and they're on YouTube and they're gone. Cool. Bye. See ya.
Bye. See ya. I don't need to hold on to it. Yeah. Nope. So, I mean, yeah, if you're listening on Spotify, I haven't decided what the question of the poll will be yet, but check it out by, swiping up in Spotify on your phone. You can weigh in, and it's kind of a two-way street for us to interact and be less parasocial, right? So,
yeah.
Lastly, should I show you my little kid toy type thing?
Yeah. Share the toy.
It's not really, it's so, talking about gimmicks earlier. So before I pull out what I'm talking about, I hate doing client outreach. Like, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. Pitching and stuff like that. It's sort of fun to cleverly figure out how you want to say what you want to say in your email, or what you're trying to do, or trying to convince someone to hire you. That's all fun. But I mean, actually writing it out and sending, and the repetition is kind of annoying. So I feel like in the past, my output is a lot lower simply because I don't enjoy doing it, which is kind of off character for me. Cause usually I through sheer willpower try to do things that I don't like. Mm-hmm. But I've started a little game to make the habit of chasing more income in photography more fun. And I'll hold it up here. I have two little jars. Can we see this? Two little jars with trinkets. This one is just these little trinkets move into this jar. Every time I perform an action that has the possibility of generating me income, whether it's a cold pitch email, whether it's reaching out to a sponsor for the podcast. So I would take one and I would put it in this little jar, and it's kind of satisfying because you have a visual representation all day of all the, all the outreach you could possibly do. And you get the urge to want to fill this little jar. So it's kind of turning it into a little game and making it satisfying. Every time I move the little trinket into the task complete jar, I get a little jolt of,
I did something.
A little jolt, of
I'm winning.
I'm making visual progress, right?
Is that a week amount of, or is it every day you start over?
No, I'm going to go until it's full, and then I'll reset it, and I'll keep track of how many days that took. And then if we're talking about continuing to get 1% better, maybe the next time I do it, and I do the same amount of trinkets in one less day.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, I'm looking at these things all day, and it's so motivating to fill the jar. I'm really trying to tap into some, the human biology here, and making something I don't want to do satisfying. We all know, I think what's been really clever with Instagram recently is on your dashboard is the little achievements they've done. Mm-hmm. Right? It shows your progress bar. Progress bars are so cool. Even when something's loading or you're uploading something, we've all, I guaranteed, caught ourselves watching the progress bar.
Yes.
62% upload, 63% upload. It's addicting. So I'm using this little strategy to try and build a good habit, or build a better habit. And I have this little crummy measuring cup for now. I got to get something better. I want to use jelly beans, but I went to the grocery store and I couldn't, I wouldn't. So that's the other thing. I went into the grocery store and I was like, I'm going to get jelly beans because I don't have a sweet tooth. I'm not a sweets guy.
Weird. I'm really not either, but if they're right in front of me.
So there was no jelly beans, and I was looking at, okay, well, what else can I wanted to do jelly beans because they're pretty big, which means I wouldn't have like 1,000 of them, but I would have a good enough amount. And I knew that I wouldn't eat jelly beans, but it didn't have any jelly beans. So I'm looking at the other candy and there's Reese's Pieces, Starburst. And, the Starbursts were too big, but I love Reese's Pieces. I mean, I said I don't have a sweet tooth, but I have,
Yeah.
and dark chocolate and stuff like. I just said, you know what? I'm going to get out of this aisle before it causes any damage to me. Because my best, my point of discipline is prevention.
Yeah.
When I'm at the grocery store, like I humbly said I have a very clean and whole food diet. And it's because I don't buy stuff at the grocery store. So it's not in the house. So it's just, I physically have to leave and go buy something if I had that bad of a craving. And that's the opposite. That's the opposite end of this little trinket game, is making bad habits difficult or inconvenient. Right.
That's right.
It's the same with like leaving your phone in the other room. Oh, do I really want to get up and walk all the way upstairs just to get my phone? No. So you're probably going to get more work done. So this is satisfying, trying to create a good habit. And my grocery store example of not buying crappy food is an example of making a bad habit difficult. So it's fun. I invite people to try it and see if your productivity goes up.
That looks good. It's streaks. Streaks are fun. Keep it going. Right. Do it fast.
I think the visual helps though. It stares at me all day.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
Snapchat. Kids want to keep their talk streak going. They'll just do it. Even if they're enemies at that point, they're still doing it because they don't want that streak to break.
I was either going to do that or print off a sheet of paper that was literally just an empty grid. And every time I did outreach or something that would generate me money, I was just going to put a tick in the box.
Yeah, that's good too.
So I don't know. I invite people, if you're wanting to start a good habit, try it out. Try it out and report back. And if you're wanting to get rid of a bad habit, make it really hard and inconvenient.
And if you're working on not having your sweets, don't come to me after a long hike, because I'll make you a lickety split.
That was so good. Aaron made, Aaron is, how much time do we have left in this episode? Aaron knows how to put ingredients together. Let's just say
That's right. Not a good cook. I just know what goes together.
Knows what goes together. He's a food chemist.
If I can find the video, I'm going to clip it into the YouTube of the lickety split action. That was great.
It was really good. It's funny too, because I say I don't have a sweet tooth, but people will see that and be like, really, you don't? For the record, I hadn't eaten in 2 days and we had hiked a ton.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was ravenous that day, if you recall. Pasta, pizza,
and trail mix
put
by
down
the bag.
4,000 calories in like 2 hours.
Was that the same dinner night where you had everyone's leftovers?
Yeah, and people are like, bowls? Are you going to stop? Haley's family looks at me like I have problems sometimes. And I'm eating in front of them. They're like, you're still eating more? I'm like, yeah. Leave me be.
Yeah.
I don't say the leave me be part, but I just laugh.
That carb replace. You need it. But,
yeah, man. I need it. I've started my marathon training. We'll end on that. I'm excited. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard, but I'm getting up every morning.
Is it in fall?
It's in May.
In May? Oh, wow. Okay.
It's in May. And
awesome.
So I do the Toronto Marathon in May, and then there's another one in October, which I'll probably do. And it's funny because the one in May, don't know if I've told you this before. I've said this on the podcast. The one in May has a quarter of the participants in the one in October because nobody wants to train through the snow in winter. And I love that. I love being the only guy out at 7 a.m., guy or girl, out at 7 a.m. running. There's nobody else around because they're in bed.
That's right. Goggins would yell.
But hey, like if you hate running, see, this is one of the things. Like running, I love doing. I obviously don't like getting up or super early and going to the cold, but I mean, it's not that bad for me. But if you're somebody who wants to run, go get some jelly beans and throw them into a container. My point is, there's things that are come easier to other people, and there's things that come harder. Right? Some people may have no problem ripping through 100 outreach emails in a day. I don't. So I need jelly beans.
Need some motivation. Jelly beans. I just eat them all one by one.
What could you use then that you wouldn't eat? Paper clips or something? Or would you eat paper clips?
Rocks. It need to be glass. Broken glass. Nothing edible. That's just a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
We're like, I did 0 outreach. Oh no, I ate it all. That's right. I forgot. Yeah.
Jacks. Paper clips.
Jacks. Yeah. Little knives. Something painful. Can't eat it.
Oh God. Okay, this show's got to end, but we got to do TPM artwork. Who do we got?
Carolina. Oh,
Look at that baby cheetah.
It is so
Ooh.
freaking cute, and what a color grade, and just a beautiful photo. What an experience. I can't even imagine. One day we will get there. We will get there. That's a guarantee. But
So
till now,
cute.
I will watch her photos and videos of the experiences she has. And she's a big supporter of the show.
Yeah.
We love her. She's great. And
That is an
thank you,
incredible
Carolina.
photo.
It really is. It
So
really
sharp.
is.
So sharp. Shot on the Sony Alpha A7R5.
That a girl.
200 to 600 millimeter, just like what you got going on. That's awesome.
Copied my setup.
Yeah.
She sure did.
I'm sure you didn't copy her. Yeah, I mean, and she helps run Wildest Kruger Safari. So if anybody's looking to get out to Africa, get shots like this, check out the safari company she has. And with
Absolutely.
that, I will see you next week, man. We got some more
Sounds
guests in the
good.
pipeline. So
Don't eat those jelly beans.
Don't eat the jelly beans. Make
You
it
got
satisfying. Till next time.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right, first what you're going to do is open the banana. And with this knife, you're going to cut it down the middle like a banana bun. Or, I'm sorry, banana bun. A hot dog bun.
So open the whole thing.
Yeah, split it.
Uh-oh, there's a crack in it.
That's fine. We probably only need half.
Is that fair to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to take this.
Yep. There you go. Now wedge it open a little.
You don't want it to completely split.
No, we do not.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Okay. We're going to put the rest of this espresso caramel salted coffee fudge bar within.
Well, I wonder if we just vice grip it.
Squeeze it. Keep it together. Okay. Yes. That does not look appetizing, but it's about the final product, folks.
I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty.
Oh my God.
This is proprietary.
Yeah.
What is this called?
Oh.
A lickety split.
Lickety split. And then we're going to finish it with a finishing layer of peanut butter.
Diving in.
Yes.
Right across the top.
Right across. Seal it.
Or
Seal it.
that's the
secret sauce. There you go. And now, first reaction.
diving in.
Yep. Is it the best thing you've ever had? Is it amazing?
It works.
Yep.
It's a lickety split.